And we're live. What's up, guys? I am Austin. This is Chase. We're the Splittin Twigs crew. It's kind of hidden in the bottom corner. That way. Bottom corner down there. Again, we have our new background up. And we're going to be jumping into this. We have Core Performance Hockey with us today. If you're over on YouTube, find us on Facebook. Come like us. Come love us. If you're over on Twitch, I'm sorry. We can't tell if you follow us, but heyo. Welcome in. Again, guys, I'm Austin. Chase, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm tired. I don't want to be here.
What do you mean?
I want to be here. I'm sorry. I love being here, driving into
what else would love to be here? You know what else would love to be here?
My
hard
dog.
Drive. The hard drive.
Yeah, my hard drive would love to be here. You know what? Not dealing with you today. All right, so we're gonna be. Hey, Ava. Hello.
Hi, Ava.
See, she's a dedicated viewer. She's
I know.
Not here for you. She's here for your mother.
She's here for me.
Don't even. Nobody's here for you. All right, let's bring in Matt. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Hey, Austin. Good. Thanks. How you doing?
Doing good. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at and what you do.
A little bit about myself. Well, I'm currently resided just outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, in Oakville. I'm in my 5th year of my business of Core Performance Hockey. I started up in 2016, but I started teaching back in 2012. Dabbled in hockey a little bit, just made it to junior C in Hamilton, but never made it up to the OHL level. So wish I could, but I get to coach guys at that level and kids at the younger age moving their way up. Yeah, it's really about it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I heard that you work with different skill levels. Like on your website, it says that you go from house league all the way to the top, like OHL, like you were saying. So how do you transition from going to say like a house player to like a top AAA player, OHL player?
That's a great question. I think, Chase, for me, it's really with the younger age groups, again, right, because they're still trying to learn their craft. It's a lot about repetition, but I find through repetition, it's got to be fun. So playing like tag a lot of the time, races, any stuff like that, I find with them, I really work with them. With the older guys, I kind of just get out of their way. They're really incredibly talented guys. I do a lot of video with them because video really doesn't lie. It shows them, right? Their feel versus real is usually really off. So I kind of use video rather than bark at them. So I just kind of go through drills or I'll watch a few of their games and see where they're spending a lot of time on the ice and how we can, increase their odds of scoring or creating a play out of that area. And then we'll go on the ice and work it through with 4 or 5 of the guys. And I just kind of stand back and get out of the way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So with video, how do you usually go about doing that? Do you have somebody videoing for you, or are you on the ice with them doing the video? How does that usually work for you?
So great question, Ash. I usually been doing the video the past couple of years, but last year I've had my younger age group because I've had a couple of 2002s. They're now past their playing days, so they've joined me into the coaching ranks. So I have myself out there instructing, and they're usually running the iPad for me. And after about 5-10 minutes, we'll do about 10 reps or so. Or if it's not looking so good, I'll call the guys in, and I use the app called Coach's Eye. And it's really great because you're able to draw on it and show visual where space is, what you're kind of looking for. And then we'll just go back into it and let the guys run it. And then they'll come take a look at it themselves. Ideally, what I try and do, again, with the older guys, going back to it, Austin, is I want it to be like a co-coaching relationship. So when they come to me with ideas of, hey, what if I tried this? That's when I really know that I've got them like into the practice session and really what we're trying to get out of it, rather than just doing always skating drills around cones and all that jumping kind of stuff.
So speaking of like your training and like you're saying, could you walk us through like a typical day in training with you?
A typical day in training with me. So I usually get the guys for a 50-minute session. So we'll get on the ice, and for the first 5 minutes, they'll break off into a section of the ice and they'll work on a specific technical skill. So a lot of players I see come through, Chase, have outside edge issues. So they'll take a couple pucks along with the third one, and they'll work on their outside edges for 5-6 minutes, just trying to get the feel down, trying to get better at it. I'll come by and correct, and then I'll bring the group back in, and we'll start with a quick passing drill. I find passing is neglected a lot of the time along with shooting. So I usually like to do at least 3 or 4 passes, and then have them go in on 1-on-0, 2-on-0, work their shooting, and then we'll break into pressure kind of stuff.
I mean, you do edge work with Boris, right?
Yes.
How does that go with you? Because of you're fairly new to the hockey world, almost 2 years now. What is it like doing edge work for you now versus when you first started out?
Compared to now to when I first started out, I'm definitely a lot different of a player. I didn't even know if you asked me within like the first year of me playing hockey what an outside edge or an inside edge, I would look at you like you were crazy. Like
So
you were saying aliens.
So like
were
how
gonna
I
take
look
over.
at you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I feel as though inside and outside edges are particularly not easy in a sense, but they're not as hard as they used to be. And I find I have a lot more success with actually outside edge than I do inside edge because I can't bend my ankle the way I'm supposed to because when I broke my leg.
No, that's a good stuff, Chase. If I could get in there, I like one of the reasons I followed you is because of that Instagram story you posted. I'd love to learn more about that story and how you're able to overcome it. And like you said, you're watching you skate now from your injury it's pretty remarkable and it's pretty inspiring.
Thank you so much. So, in your mission statement on your website, it talks about building mental toughness in every player and that it's 90% mental.
Chase, I love you.
What do you mean by that?
I love you, Chase. You are burning the questions. You're not even having a full conversation. Welcome to the podcast, people. This is what we do. When I said at the beginning is we like to have fun here. It's usually making fun of Chase for burning through the questions. He'll burn through the questions in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And he just goes back to back. I think you forget to have a conversation. Oh, producer, what was that?
What?
Well, I'm getting him there. Producer, stop yelling at me. She's yelling again. Wow, this is a child show. There is a child present, ma'am. So, Chase, let's go into a little bit about how you what happened with you, and then how you got back to where you're at. Almost 4 months later, right?
Yes. So, yeah. So I broke my leg August of 2020. It was 3 days after my grandma passed away. I remember the day very well. I was looking at mouth guards before I got onto the ice, and then I left. And then I got onto the ice. I was like 11 minutes into the game is when I broke my leg. And I remember before the game, my mom kept telling me, "Don't go to the game. You don't need to go to the game. It's not a big deal." She just wanted me to stay home. But I told her, "No, I'm gonna go to the game. I'm gonna go play." And I broke my leg. But I went to hit the kid, and my leg kind of got caught in between where the ice meets the door because there was kind of a little divot. So I don't know if that played a role in it or not, but it may have. And so my leg got caught in between where the ice meets the boards, and it kind of snapped my leg. Obviously, both bones broke, and it took a while to be able to even move my leg, like lift my leg up on my own without like holding it for me. But once I finally got there, I started getting up more, started moving more. One thing that people actually don't know is I got cleared to walk a week before I actually started walking. So it took me a whole week to start walking after I was cleared.
Was that
because
you were afraid?
I was so scared to walk after it. So it took me an entire week to have the courage to finally walk. And the only reason I even had the courage to walk was because I personally hate needles a lot. And my parents kept telling me that they were going to give me a cortisone shot if I didn't get up and walk. So that motivated me to walk. But
Cortisone shots aren't that bad, though.
it's pretty bad.
No,
I'm not giving a shot.
Chase, that's a great story, and I kind of leads into your question when you talked about my mission statement. It's 90% mental, like you just said there. It takes courage, and with training, a lot of kids, like again, Instagram, social media, with everything we have, it's instant gratification now, and a lot of kids think that they're going to be on the ice with me for that 1 hour, and same with their parents, and they're the next Wayne Gretzky. And I try and tell them it's a process, right? Like, work your best, continue to chip away at it every day. And the hardest part is a lot of kids, like they're not used to facing adversity. like a lot of kids here in my town of Oakville, like being cut, it's tough. If you get moved down from say AAA to AA or AA to A even, and I get that kid to come, it's not just like working their edge works and, you know, trying to get their shot better. It's, you have to rebuild their confidence because they're now back down to a different level that they're just like, I'm not good enough. And now I got to try and get them to get, you know, loving the game, have fun with it. And when that comes back, then their natural ability, and then they start moving back up to their level they were, or even past that. But that's the big thing I find is it's a mental hurdle just to work through it, especially like getting to the AAA level. Like a lot of kids, everyone here wants to play AAA, but there's only so many teams, so many spots. And, you know, I try and tell parents all the time when they come ask me, oh, is my kid ready for AAA? My first thing is okay, is he the best player in your loop? And they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, I go, if you took the two top teams, would your kid stand out? And they go, well, maybe so. I go, okay, well, then that might mean that he's just ready to break into the next tier. So do you want to play it just 10 minutes a game to say you play AAA? Or would you rather stay at the current level and be a part of the team, power play? You know what I mean? So it's a balancing point to really talk with parents to get, you know, I've had kids, I coached the AA level at 06, and I've had kids just, the season ends and they go, coach, I'm going to go to AAA. And it's like, okay, well, where are you going to go? And that, you know, it's not a top tier team, or they haven't really talked to them much, and they pull them in at the end of April and sign them. And I go, you know, you're a 9th forward or you're a 6D, where here you're a top 6, you know, top 2D. So, but they go, I want the letters. And at my point, I wish, you know, I support them. I wish them the best, but usually I hear the year after it's the worst season they've ever had. So it's a perfect balance, like I said, of working through mental toughness and keeping hockey fun, but still improving as, you know, you get older.
So I like to tell everybody that comes onto our hockey podcast, I know nothing about hockey. I'm the tech dude that got, and the graphics guy that got somehow put into this. Producer, why are you smacking your head? But so I like to tell everybody, like, I'm learning hockey right now. And for me, I come from a soccer background, which for us, we don't go through different brackets like you guys do when we're going up in the sport. What we have is we have public and private. And private is you pay good money to get into it. And if you have money, you play. If you don't have money, you sit bench. So it's a very interesting fact to see how you guys work and the mental that it comes from. When it comes to kids going through this, what is the main thing that you try to get through their head when they do drop down? Like, what is it that gets them motivated the most?
I just try and use prime examples. So I've obviously had prior players come through, and I'll have them reach out, or we'll skate together, and they'll literally tell the kids, like, I got cut. I had one kid, he got cut from AAA at 14, and he's played in the OHL the last couple of years. So it's really about being right. Yeah, Austin. It was just about being perseverant. Like, don't get me wrong, he worked extremely hard. He traveled to a lot of different places, like up to Ottawa. He ended up going out to BC, but through hard work and his dedication, someone saw him and gave him the opportunity to go up. So I just try and tell kids and parents that, you know, minor hockey is fun, and it should be a soccer too. I have a background. My sister went through it just as well, so I know exactly what you're talking about with the private and the travel teams. And you got to have the money if you really want to be, you know, king tut kind of thing. So I just try and tell the parents again, right, from, you know, they start at 6 years old. For me, I was on the ice at 3, but from 6 to 16, it goes by fast. Like, enjoy every minute you're with your kid at the rink. Have fun. Make sure they're smiling. And you know what? If there's tendency or the opportunity to go on and play at a higher level, whether, you know, you're a collegiate, then, you know, start talking about pursuing it. When people start talking about it at U9, U10, it's just, I just want to kind of, you know, pump the brakes, sit back, drink your Tim Hortons, and just let little Timmy have fun at the rink. You know what I mean? He wants to be there with his buddies. He's not looking to get drafted to the OHL.
And kind of like you were saying, to kind of add on about examples of players who were doing kind of what you were talking about. So a good example, and one that my coach used to always bring up, is Austin Matthews. he didn't play AAA hockey until he was 18U, and he's a top player in the NHL right now. Just to like, that's crazy to me. Just to think that he never played AAA until he was 18 years old. That's crazy. My coach told me that it's not so much about the letters or if you play AAA or anything like that. It's more about how much ice time you get, because ice time is what develops you in games and stuff like that. You could play at the AAA level, but you could play for 5 minutes, or you could play at the AA or single A level and play almost the entire game and get that game experience and game sense and hockey sense, and then move up and then have that experience compared to maybe AAA players who don't have that experience, you know?
Absolutely. I think you're completely right, Jason. Austin Matthews is a great example of it. The one we like to use here in Toronto is Wayne Simmons. He also played double A, I think, all the way up to U18, and then jumped up into the junior A ranks to get up to where he is in the NHL. I think you're 100% right with the opportunities. Kids need to get a lot of touches, a lot of, being put in opportunities that they're not comfortable with. If you look at Austin's thing, I think his parents did a great job with his development. He was at the Brick tournament. I don't know if you guys know about that, but that's one of our big tournaments in Canada here, right up at the West Edmonton Mall. So, and even there, right, he dominated, which a lot of people were kind of shocked because, like you said, Chase, he was coming from lower competition, as people would put it, right, because he's coming from Arizona, but he still showed up and did a really good job. And as he is now in Toronto, I love, like, he is my favorite player. He's on my background in my phone. So I'm hoping I get the opportunity to coach an Austin Matthews somewhere along my development path of my career.
Oh yeah, Austin Matthews. I mean, that's a generational player though. Like, he's crazy good. But so I was reading on your website and it was talking about, in your mission statement, it was saying never become a whistleblower. What do you kind of mean by that? Like, what's the story behind that?
So growing up personally for myself, a lot of the coaches I had would just be leaning against the glass. So they would drop on the board, right? You get your X's and O's, do the rush, come back, and they would just stand there. There would be no correction. They would just blow the whistle. You just hear the whistle go, next group would go, next group would go. And for me, like it did stop my growth. So one thing I looked into it is when I got into developing, I wanted to make sure that what I got from my coaches, I took the good stuff, but the things I felt that I didn't get, I needed to provide. So anytime I thought like a kid's not doing something right, Chase, like if he's not doing, like I show the edge drill and he's not doing it right, I'll go skate down and I'll stop. I'll pull him to the side and go, listen, you think you're doing it right, but let's do, and then I'll pop him back into the line. You know what I mean? A lot of coaches I see would just blow the whistle and kids just keep skating down the line, down the line, down the line. So I always do my best to touch base, whether it be there's 8 kids on the ice or 18. I try and go and see each kid individually. So when I get on the ice, I go say, hey, how you doing? I try not to talk about hockey. I'll ask how their brother or sisters, how's their mom, grandparents, depending who brings them to the rink, right? And then we'll get into drills. And then again, I try and touch base with each kid and go, hey, here's something I've seen, here's something here, just to make sure that each kid feels that, you want to show you care. And they want to show that, if you show you care, then you're going to get the best from them. And I that's what I found.
I mean, that works out really well because I know for me, like I'm a police officer, so I just went through Krav Maga training, which is combative stuff. And the teacher, which was really funny, the instructor for it, he told us, he's like, he waited till the end to tell us because he didn't want to tell us at the beginning, right? But throughout the class, like if you were messing up, he'd come over and be like, hey, you're doing an amazing job. Fix this real quick. And he'd be like, great job still. And he'd pat you on the back. The way he said to do it, you do 1 positive, 1 negative, 1 positive. And if you leave somebody with a positive and bring in with a positive, that negative is kind of like flatlined and they don't freak out. They're like, oh, I'm messing up so bad. But at the end, he explained it to us and we're like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense because if I come in and I'm just like, oh, you did a horrible job. Like you need to fix this. This is what's messed up. And you give them a whole list of things to fix. They're just not gonna register it. It's not going to sink into them. And we called them out on it at the end because we were like, wait a minute, you tricked us. You were manipulating us. This is not fair. But it worked extremely well because going back and teaching it to my guys, because I work with Air Force, a lot of the new guys, it's a new generation. And they're like, oh, well, I want to do things my way. Okay, we'll do it your way. So I'll lead in. I'm like, you're doing an amazing job. However, let's fix this. And then I'm like, still, amazing job. I'm super proud of you. And I'll walk away. And then they change what they're doing. I'm not going to fix everything in one go. I'll make a few passes. And if we fix one thing at that time, we fix one thing. If you fix two things by me telling you one thing, even better. But the way he described it was one thing at a time to fix, not everything at once, which was the most ingenious idea. Because I'm so everything like you have to do it a certain way in military world. Like it's you do it this way and only this way. And then if you don't do it, you get yelled at. That's how I grew up in the military. They're like, all right, Ekin, go to the smoke pit.
But wasn't it a different type of military back then?
I mean, I got beat. Yes.
Yeah, the military is
it's different.
From what I've heard from a lot of people in the military now who were in it like a long time ago, it's changed a lot from what it used to be.
Yeah, now I have to coddle people, which is why one positive, one negative, one positive.
It's funny you say that, Austin. When I played, it was very like obviously we're not military, but we were coached the same way. We were told a direction to go. Like I played right wing. You're allowed between the dot and the boards. If I went anywhere to the middle of the ice, I was just ripped apart when I came to the bench. I told you to play right wing. Do not leave the right side of the ice. But so, and with this generation now and the way the game's going, like you watch Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, changing the ice is part of the game. So it's frustrating, like at the minor level, because I'm a development coach. I try and encourage this stuff to help my players do this stuff because it'll help them reach the next level. Yeah. But then their bench coach isn't happy because they need to win the game. If they don't win, then he doesn't have the status to keep the team next year. So it's a fighting balance point with that. And going back to your positive, negative, positive, I actually got this from Daryl Belfry is the same thing is when we talk about taking player development. And I was one of the bad people for it when I first started is I would just look at the negatives of the player. Like this is your weakness, when we would just spend all the time when really you should look at what they do well or where they're else in the ice where they can do stuff and build that confidence up and slowly chip away at those, like spend 10 minutes at the weakness, but spend 50 minutes at what they do well and how they can get it better. And that I've noticed has been a huge thing because their confidence, their swagger, as the kids call it now, they come to the rink, right? They start trying stuff. And that's what I love to see is when kids start doing the Patrick Kane spinorama or the Ovechkin between the legs.
Yeah, and see, that makes sense.
But trying to like build the creative side of the game in a sense is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah. So what position do you play, Chase?
I play center.
So for example, you're a center, right? I would like to say, okay, we always talk about they want you to be low in the zone, right? Below the dots, almost be D3. Well, I would like to show you how you could get more opportunity to get the puck and be Connor McDavid and get yourself up the ice into the rush and sometimes leading it. So that's where I bring in my development side while still making your coach happy going, Chase, where the hell are you skating? What are you doing? Right? So it's a happy, you know what I mean? I have to work with the coach, it's a trifecta. You have to work with all three. It's all communication. And I'm sure you've heard the saying before, Austin, saying maybe you, Chase, but it takes a village to raise a child. Like I've been fortunate.
Why do you
heard that?
Excited about that?
Because I feel accepted.
I love it.
Jesus. Also, before I forget, hey, Dylan, welcome in. How's it going? Sorry, we got to say hi to the chat people too.
Hi, Chloe.
Oh, hello, Chloe. When's her podcast, producer?
The 19th.
The 19th.
She's
in Canada.
How did I know that, but you don't? Austin, you got to get on top of these things.
You start doing tech work. And I'll start scheduling.
Okay.
Chase, can I have one more question for you, buddy?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I'm a big fan of Boris. I think, every year that I get further into this, I know less. You know what I mean? I need to continue to learn. What was your relationship with like Boris on the ice? Like how does he teach in terms of communication? Like, I like the eyes lighting up. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Boris is an absolutely amazing coach. One of the best I've ever had.
I'm so proud of you for not yelling in the mic, first off. Secondly, you may continue.
he has a very old-fashioned way of teaching, kind of like he was saying, or what he was saying that positive, negative, positive, negative. Boris is a very direct person. He's not so much you did this well, but you need to work on this. He's a very you did this way, but you need to do it this way, and until you do it this way, I'm not going to let you do this drill. So he wants perfection on the drill. And I
Yeah.
think it's a very good way of teaching because it teaches key fundamentals going up. And so, sorry, she's distracting me because she's going. Mickey, all
Miss
these hand
Producer, would you like
signals.
to join? One second. The producer would like to join us. Ma'am, go ahead. You're clear.
No, we're good. I'm just laughing at Chase. So, I don't know if you've ever seen Boris coach, Matt. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Mallory. Yep.
Okay. So it's kind of funny. Chase is doing a really good job just kind of being very vague, but he's a very strict coach. The same expectations that he holds for a bantam or a U18 player, he's going to hold for a 6U player. It is something that he very much understands. In Arizona, I'm not sure the differences up there in Canada, but it is very, very expensive to play hockey in the States, and it's even more so expensive to play hockey. California, Arizona, Texas, we have the highest numbers. So a lot of these players that are on the ice are getting privates. Chase himself has 3 private coaches outside of his travel team. So it is a big, big expense. And so when you're on the ice, it is absolute no nonsense. You are there to work, you are there to be structured. The way that he coaches the kids is completely different than we've ever seen. And it's actually what has pushed Chase to continue to play. Like Chase said, he came back about 2.5. He was actually skating 2.5 months after his initial injury. And when he came back, and kind of to put it a little bit more in perspective too, Chase was very fortunate. The doctor who put his leg back together is actually Dr. John Corey. He's the NHL orthopedic surgeon for the Arizona Coyotes, as well as for Cardinals. He's worked with mass amount of players. So there was a lot in his bubble that happened. But for Boris, everything from their inside outside, it is a no nonsense. Chase can kind of continue to tell that he is definitely an old school coach, but one of the sweetest, most passionate people in his field. There is nobody like him out here at all.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Mallory. Like I said, Boris is very good at keeping himself, inside his circle. He shows a little bit on social media, so I've always been intrigued to hear what his interactions are like on the ice, and that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I portrayed and thought it would be. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah, he's definitely an amazing coach. I really like skating with him. It's so much fun. And some of the stuff we do is actually crazy. There's these little kids on the ice who are like 9 or 10, and they're asking me, why are we doing this? And I'm like, because these drills are drills. They're kind of weird looking, right? But when you think about it, the more comfortable you are switching from like inside, outside edges, think about how easy it is to do that in a game. Because like a crossover, for example, inside, outside edge, like I do walks. So like outside edge, inside edge walks.
Yeah.
And when my coach was kind of teaching me a little more about crossovers, I did crossover walks. So like I would go inside, outside edge around a tire. And just to see how much you actually really use your inside and outside edge on a crossover is actually crazy to me. Like it is so amazing how all the little fundamentals can lead into such big parts of the game, you know?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I've tried his drills before. There's one that always amazes me. He has Austin skating down the ice doing these heel cuts, and at the blue line, Austin jumps, does a 360, and then lands into a full turn and crosses out. And I'm like, I'm gonna try that. Let's just say it didn't go so smooth. So I need some work on that one. I don't think I'll be demonstrating or putting that drill into my repertoire just yet until I can do it.
Yeah, we do this one drill, and when I first saw it, man, it was such an intimidating drill. Like it is just crazy. So you go from forwards to backwards, except you step while skating and you jump at the same time. So
What?
I don't know how to explain it. It's
It sounds just difficult. I
yeah,
think I have an idea what you mean.
I can do it, but like there's kids out there who are my age and they're doing that drill, except they're doing it with a puck and they're doing it like it's a piece of cake. And I'm over here like, man, what did they put in the water at your house?
Where do you get yours and how do I get it?
Yeah, like what did you do before this? Like, who's your dealer? How did you get like that? Where
Yeah,
can I get
absolutely.
some?
I need some of that good water, please.
Yes, please.
So, jeez. Speaking on that, I know a few people that we've talked to suggest figure skating for people. How do you feel about that with your development?
I fully believe that it takes a village to raise a child, Austin. So I'm not against it. Again, there's always stuff you can learn from it. I think there's different parts of it, especially their edge work. I think figure skaters really are able to teach how to be efficient. If you know what I mean, like being able to hold your edge, carry your momentum, carry your speed through. So I like them to use for that. I run a lot of, just like I said, tactical drills, one-on-one pressure situations. If I have a parent ask me to go to do power skating, I send them to a specific figure skater in Oakville because every time I get my kids back on the ice, there's a significant difference in their skating ability, whether it be their stride, their power, their ability to accelerate or decelerate. So I think figure skating has a part, as with anything. It's just really where do you need it as a player? So if your edge work needs it, then yeah, for sure, I would say get into it. I think power skating is kind of an old term now. We're kind of moving away from that. As Chase said, if you watch Austin Matthews or the top guys, they've done studies for it now that the elite players, they do 3 crossovers to 1 stride. So your ability to be on your edges, whether you're inside, outside, or vice versa, that's going to make you be able to, jump the ranks or at least continue to play at that speed and level than just being able to burn up and down the ice north-south.
I definitely have a lot of old school coaches who get so mad when I do crossovers going up the ice, and I get yelled at for like 30 minutes. And then some coaches encourage it, and some coaches encourage going straight up and down the ice, north south, kind of like you were saying. But another big thing that I hear about hockey is yoga. I hear like one of my coaches strongly encourages me to do yoga, and I've been dabbing in it, but I'm not that flexible.
P90X yoga. There's some good yoga.
I think yoga has its benefits as well, Chase. I see with a lot of players myself is, we talk about full extension and reaching joint extension. A lot of players aren't able to do it, especially at the younger ages. They just don't have the joint strength. So being able to do those yoga poses and being able to hold, with your leg out in a certain position and being able to extend and rotate will translate to your skating ability. I think a lot of players don't do enough off ice to help their on ice ability. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone always thinks you have to be skating to improve, but if you work on your dry land training and your flexibility, like the one thing I love is gymnastics. I think gymnastics is a fantastic way to build that end range of motion in the hips, the shoulders, any of the joints, and it translates to on ice skating and also injury prevention. I got a little U13 goalie, and he moves around like Vasilevsky. Like, he is so flexible, and he hasn't been injured simply because he works at this. He's in the gym 4 times a day, tumbling or doing some routine, and it's helping his ability to be a goalie. So,
I mean, that's
amazing. I mean, the dedication that takes. But so I've kind of been thinking about this the entire podcast because I have this question on my list and I've been kind of wondering about it. So how has COVID-19 kind of like affected your guys' season? Because I know before this we were kind of talking that you guys have been on and off and you haven't had a season since September. So I was wondering like how that's affected all the players in the hockey up there.
Great question. It's been tough. It's been tough. The mental health of a lot of players has been affected by it. More so with the lower level guys. So the AAA guys are still They have that competitive, that natural, drive that they want to still train and get better. But with the guys that, play hockey at the rep level, but still want to have fun, it's been tough to keep them coming to the rink, or we've been trying to substitute with using Zoom and online, doing dry land training. And it's just not the same. Unfortunately, there's just not the connection, the energy, you know what I mean, that you feel when you're in a room with someone else. So it's been tough on the kids, and more so, it's probably because it's been 3 times. So like we closed, I believe, at the end of around August of last year, because the kids skated in the summer. We had a few tournaments, and then it shut down, and we were locked down for a bit. We were allowed to skate privately, but other than that, there was no games or anything like that. And then again, right at Christmas time, shut down. We opened back up just as a New Year, and then again, as of our Saturday, we now got into a great lockdown. So no skating, even stuff like I was doing shooting. We're not. We had 10 people in a group. You're only allowed 5 now, and even that's still frowned upon. I went to the driving range today, and as I was in there, someone called, and they called to yell at the guy for them being open because they're not essential.
Wow. I mean,
Gee.
that's
Decided to take him out of his day to call the driving range attendant and yell at them.
If you think about it, we
So,
only.
what about you guys? Like,
so
did you guys shut down at all?
yes. When COVID first kind of hit, and I actually remember this, it was spring break of 2020 that we closed, because I remember this week so well. I was like, whoa, we get another week of spring break. Let's go. And then freaking a year later, we're finally open. But yeah, we closed right around there. And I think we opened back up. I think the first game of hockey I played after that was January or February of this year, or of last year.
And when you opened up, Chase, Mallory, were you able to spectate right away?
No.
No. Go ahead.
There wasn't spectators allowed in the rink for like 2 or 3 months. I think we're just now getting to the point where people, like, anybody can come in now. But there wasn't spectators allowed in for a good chunk of time. And they would take our temperatures. We had to take our masks onto the ice with us. We could take them off at the bench, but then the second the game ended, we had to take them and put them back on. And it was mandated to home dress for a little while, but then that stopped. And so actually,
home
dress is like dressing at home instead of at the rink.
Got it.
So me personally, I've actually been very lucky with COVID. While everything was shut down before the rink opened, they were still doing secret lessons in a sense. Secret lessons. They had the entire rink closed out with tape in the front of it saying closed due to COVID-19, except for one door that you could go in and out of. And that was the door that you would go into to sneak into the rink to skate. There was like, I think 20, 25 people in the entire skating.
Just don't name it.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else is good, Austin.
I was so lucky. I was so lucky to be one of the handful of kids to be able to get my way into there. So I was so lucky in that aspect. And then after that, everything kind of opened up. Like right now.
So hockey Illuminati is a thing.
We're not like right now, we're not even mandated to wear masks anymore. Like we can walk in the store without a mask anymore. But that's more because of how many people out here have shots. I think America is like given over 200,000 shots already. We only have like 3 million or 200 million. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. But and we only have like 300 million people here, so we're almost fully vaccinated. So
okay.
Oh yeah, you're stupid, but won't get the shot. It's people like you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
So Chase, in terms of if you're not allowed spectators, do they do like live barn that your mom could watch, like live stream, or
Yes. That is actually, I mean, we still do that, like for gameplay and stuff. Like, say I scored a goal and nobody filmed it, we go into Live Barn and we look at that. Like it's so like Live Barn has become almost essential in my house, even now that we're allowed to go into the ring. It's such an amazing platform, and I think it definitely helped a lot of families get through everything.
Yeah, and see, we don't have Live Barn up here, right? And we haven't had games. So for my essential has been a GoPro, because the parents weren't allowed in the rink. So I'd GoPro all our practices and I'd upload them onto YouTube so they could watch them, because it was the same thing. They just didn't get to see their kids. So I figured any way possible.
I mean,
that's been our set. Yeah.
I think that's amazing that you're a coach that's willing to do that. We don't have many coaches like you out here. Well, like we have a good amount, but like not. You're definitely a rare breed of coach, if that makes sense.
So Chloe is also from Canada.
I think she's from Ontario, she told me.
So that's still Canada.
Well, yeah.
So she says we have like no shots here.
I don't know what that means.
No, there's no COVID shots.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not. They're not as readily available, Chase, here as they are down in the States. Although news says that we have a bunch and it's in storage. So I know Chloe's saying a lot of people are upset with their government and just how we're going about, distributing this and moving forward. And right now, the call to action is to give it to our frontline workers, our essential workers. So those would be our teachers, nurses, right? We just stepped out actually as of yesterday. One of our regions is called Peel, so the Mississauga area.
Okay.
They've now moved from in-class learning to remote learning. So we now have like a 2-week kind of March break. They moved the March break to April. So I'm assuming in this time frame, I'm hoping that they're going to start being able to take care of the frontline workers that want to get the shots and, get us out of this lockdown in the next 4 weeks.
I mean, that'll be nice, because I know for us, when it first initially hit, everything shut down. And I have 5 little ones. 3 of them go to school. And having 3 school-age kids doing school from home was horrid. Between the computers being broken and me having to figure out IT world again, the children fighting all the time, the teachers not helping the kids. That was a huge thing. Is like our teachers were there, but they weren't there. They weren't like able to help each student. And that's the huge thing, is like, if we're doing everything remote, and same thing goes back to hockey, you can't coach them on a remote.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that personable stuff. I know so we had Sharpsgate, New York. Is that how you say it, prod producer? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ilya and Vlad both are coaches as well. And they were doing the Zoom stuff. But the way that they did it, which made a lot of sense, was one would be watching the Zoom class and seeing the kids do it, while the other one was actually doing the movements of what they were supposed to be doing,
making sure the kids were making sure that one of them was making sure the kids were doing the drills right, making sure that the kids were actually participating and having energy with the coach, and then one of them was showing them how to actually do it,
which he said worked out extremely well compared to what they were doing in the very beginning, which they were both showing them how to do stuff, and the kids were just doing whatever they wanted to do. They're like, nobody's paying attention to us.
Kids will be kids.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
Chloe Lewis is back up here.
You're so quick to jump.
I'm sorry.
You're so quick to jump ship.
I'm sorry.
He has, we had melatonin for him.
Melatonin doesn't work on me.
Crap. Give him the gummies.
Okay, my March break is in April, but we are in lockdown right now, and we will most likely go into another lockdown after April break. Gee.
So, I mean, you guys have had 3 lockdowns now, Matt?
I believe that's correct. Yeah, Austin.
Okay. Yeah, is it going to be like a full lockdown again, like that they're talking about, or like how is this? Because I mean, lockdown to me, like what we had here, is where there was nobody moving, like you couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, there was like a curfew that if you were out and you weren't an essential worker or something, like you'd get fined.
Yeah, it's not that restrictive here. It's they've basically just limited capacity. So what they had before when we were in the red zone is they've now cut it down by 50%. So if you could have 25 people in there, you're allowed 10 now. But then they've closed down, like no personal fitness inside or outside, no personal training, no hockey. Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, and that's where I get frustrated is, that's where mental health starts to take a toll, is when you take away kids' time to exercise, right? Because a happy kid is a tired kid. And if he's not able to go out and skate or run or expend energy, you know, and the hard part is they want to be with their friends too, right? So it's
Yeah, especially like,
questions are being asked. Sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. So I mean, like for me, like mental health is a huge thing for me, especially being military. Like if I can't go and see my friends, or my wife can't get away from the children for a little bit, like she stresses, she has the anxiety build up. I can only imagine what it's like for kids who have all of that energy built up, and then leading into their parents getting stressed because the kids are going out of control because they don't have anywhere to burn that energy.
Yeah.
It's just, that's crazy to think about. But
Especially kids like me.
yeah, especially kids like you. I can't stand you when you're excited. But
I have a little too much energy sometimes.
just a little. So with you guys going into this lockdown, what do you suggest for your players in general, like dry land work? What is it, something that you want them to focus on, or just hockey players in general when it comes to lockdowns? What is a good mental health thing for them to have?
Well, first and foremost is just to maintain your routine. I think routine is a big thing that the lockdown messes up, right? Wake up at the same time in the morning, have your breakfast, schedule your workout. I think that's a lot of where we lose that time management, and kids start to lose that focus and plan. In terms of like the dry land training, Austin, I always am a big fan of speed training. So plyometrics, always working on your jumping, your agility. I find just you develop the speed power side, your injury and prevention also gets really improved that way. Yoga, like Chase mentioned, kind of mixing it up, working on mobility. I don't say that there's one set way. I think strength, like as a broad spectrum is of strength and conditioning, you kind of have to cover all aspects of it. I think hockey has so many different demands on the body, whether it be your aerobic system where you need oxygen, or your first three steps where you need to use your anaerobic. I talked again about Daryl Belfry. I've been fortunate enough to join his membership, and one of the people he has is Dr. Sill on his thing, and she mentions the hockey players. She trains them like decathlon, because hockey has those 10 different sports, whether we like to think of it like that or not. And the more that we start training athletes as a whole in that spectrum, I think the better off we'll be. One area that we struggle in development is goaltending. We don't develop many goaltenders in the NHL, right, from Canada anymore. And you look over at Finnish, right, Swedish, Russian goaltenders and how they're doing their training. It's very gymnastics. They're working on their hand-eye coordination. It's not very static, where we're always talking about get under the bar, do your squats, do your lunges. I think in today's game, you just need to be as athletic as possible and strong at the same time, rather than be like, I'm the guy that can squat 400 pounds or I can bench 325. Those days are over. Those were the early 90s.
I wish I could bench 390.
I wish I could bench 190, buddy. So
yeah, I mean, well, so I ended up tearing my shoulder in the military, and then retore it again about 2 months ago. It's great times.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Get used to it.
You get used to it. That's not something that a normal person should be able to say.
Well, I'm not normal. I'm in the military, and now I work for the military as a civilian. Like, there's no normal. Oh, what do you have, producer? What's this? Michigan. Why am I being handed this?
Because we're talking about mental health.
Oh, got it. This is sad.
Yeah, we don't.
She's handing me sad things. Just so you guys are aware, she handed me about a Michigan family who mourns death of son. They said that was pushed to the breaking point by stopping high school sports, specifically hockey, which is another, as we were just speaking, like mental health wise, like trying to stay together and make sure that you want to reach out to your friends and make sure that everybody's doing good, especially if you guys are going into the lockdown. Like, at least it's not a full lockdown where they can't go and see people. It just, they can't play their sport, which is probably one of those things that's like a huge, like for me, soccer was a huge getaway. Like I went and played it because I had so much pent up energy, and if my parents pissed me off, I'd be like, I'm going to go kick a soccer ball. Like, that's where you put all your, yes, we get it. You hit a ball.
I hit a hockey puck.
Same thing. You hit the
Yeah,
ball.
no, same way, Austin. I know exactly what you're saying. Hockey was my outlet. It was my getaway. And I always try and tell kids all the time, right, Chase, every chance you get to be on the ice, enjoy it because you never know when's going to be your last skate.
That's very true. And like Ghost is saying here in the chat, really any sport is more aerobic, and aerobic is always helpful. And then coming with this one, he says sports are a huge outlet for your mental stability.
I definitely get that. Like when my grandma passed away, she passed away on August 1st of 2020, and hockey was like my only way to get away from it. I think I had like 2 or 3 practices before the game I broke my leg at. And hockey was like a huge outlet for me, and it helped me so much with my mental health, especially with my nana passing away. Like I think I was up for like 2 hours just stick handling, just trying to get her passing off my mind. And then after that, um, I went into that game and then I broke my leg. And after losing hockey, I definitely went into a rough spot because I didn't really know what to do without hockey, because hockey was the one way that I would, deal with everything. So definitely after losing hockey, it's definitely really tough. So I feel so bad
Absolutely.
for all the kids who rely on hockey as their only outlet in Canada and are losing that.
Sorry, I'm currently fixing a chat problem. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Was fixing that chat problem that we had over on Twitch. Now that's fixed. Mission 77 says, I totally agree. Whenever I was stressed, I went outside and shot pucks or skate on rollerblades. Hockey is a major outlet for my mental health. Speaking of rollerblades, do you suggest that for your ice hockey or for your team in general to go out and work on dry land as well, and if they can't go out and ice skate?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. There is transferability from the skating perspective of being on rollerblades to being on skates. Obviously, rollerblades don't have the same kind of rocker as a skate blade, and we can't do certain things like the outside edge stop. But you can definitely work on your turns and work on your moves, such like that. I'm sure you've seen it with NHL guys. A lot of them, especially from the States that were down where you guys talked about, Arizona, Texas, they played a lot of roller hockey through the summer to, really hone their skills in for their travel team winter season. Because like you said, ice is so scarce and it's so expensive.
I mean,
I know a lot of players who like go from playing either primarily or only rollerblading to working into both ice and rollerblading.
oh no,
And
didn't mean to. That was my fault.
sorry, that kind of distracted me. I have squirrel moments where I get distracted very easily because I don't know how to pay attention to things. So I'm sorry.
So you were speaking about roller.
Yeah, rollerblade. I have a lot of friends who go transition from rollerblading into ice hockey and play both. And they say that they absolutely love it. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever play rollerblading because I'm not really good at rollerblading. I've tried it a couple of times, so I'm not really good at it.
We don't need you to break anything else.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to bust my butt any more than I already have.
That's fair. No, it's a great time. Like I said, I played it growing up a little bit later in my years, probably 15 to 17, but just because different, right? 4-on-4, no real equipment other than your helmet, gloves, and skates, no icing. So you can be pretty creative with how to get out of your own end and, do breakouts and stuff. So I definitely enjoyed roller hockey, and I found that, working on certain skills, because I was a defenseman, skate moves and stuff, it would help me when I got back on the ice. Obviously, I had to shake off the rust or change up my body position or how I felt on my skates to, make it work a little bit better. But I did see that it helped being on rollerblades rather than just not doing anything.
I mean, that's completely fair.
I mean, to that time.
It is coming to that time. I was about to say that.
Okay.
So we're coming to that time, guys. If you guys have any questions to throw in chat right now, now's the time. I know a lot of people are coming in late. You guys are very late. We started an hour ago. Where have you
How
been?
dare you?
Let's see. From Mission 77, this is for you, Chase. I don't know if you know Nick Kampala. He played Mission, probably the best player to come out of Mission organization. But before he played ice, he played 100% roller.
Yeah, he was good.
Wait, you know him?
I don't know him personally. Chase. But when your Knicks are very good hockey, you get known around Narch, and it's called the North American Roller Hockey Championships. He's known. He's a good player.
Wow.
Oh.
I mean, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's actually kind of sick. I didn't know that. I'm very new to my organization because this was my first year of travel. I started playing hockey this May will be 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm very new to like the whole hockey world and hockey community. And 2 years ago is when I started skating, not playing hockey. So I started playing hockey earlier than that.
Right on. So I was lucky enough, for another example, Stefan Legion I played roller hockey with, and he ended up having a career in the NHL himself. So, and he was quite the roller hockey player.
Wow.
That's amazing.
See, roller hockey, you need to get into it. Maybe you'll actually be good at it. No, producer says no. Why are you yelling at us, producer?
Yeah, why do you always yell at us?
We haven't even yelled at you today. Like,
yeah,
we've been
we were
so
actually
nice.
very nice to you today.
Usually I yell at her because she's doing stuff, and it's the best part of my day.
Like when she threw a pillow over her head laying back. Like,
yeah, I mean, I should have made fun of her, but it's fine. So, but sir, thank you so much for being here. It has been an extreme pleasure talking to you. It really has. We'll have to get you back on here to talk more, definitely, because an hour is
we
not
could bring
long
them
enough.
up with Vlad and Isla and talk with them.
That Vlad and Isla are totally different beast. That I don't know if we're prepared to have 3 coaches with you, because they're just gonna. I don't know anything about hockey. They're not going to destroy me.
They're going to destroy.
They're just going to make we're going to pull up videos of you doing hockey things and just let them go to town and be like, Coach, help him. What could he do better here? Please tell us. Like, we're just going to start playing videos.
Oh God.
We definitely need more than an hour, Austin. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's mean.
No, just
Thank you so much, Ghost.
But you're welcome.
Again,
thank you guys for having me.
Yep. If you want to hang out, we'll say our goodbyes and then we'll come in chat with you here in a second.
All righty.
All right, guys. This is the end of J Stream and J Podcast. You guys are amazing for being here. Oh, what is this?
Yes, I am playing GSL and I'll be playing in the Big Fellas. So yeah, I'll be there on Tuesday the 16th when it starts.
Mission, you are so far behind the schedule
after the podcast. You gotta be on this, man. You gotta. No, I'm just kidding. But
you're
I'll be there.
us.
I'll
you're
be
killing
there.
us. We're running out of time, and you're asking questions. What is this?
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on with
Come
you.
on.
What are you doing?
How dare you?
You should have showed up earlier if you had questions. I'm just kidding. No, we love the questions, guys. Again, welcome in. If you just got here, we're sorry we missed you. We will see you next time. We'll be back next weekend around producer. Come on!
You gotta be on top of this.
So, anyways, while she's checking for that, again, guys, thank you for being here from Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. You guys are all amazing. If you're not following us, hit that follow button. See when we go live. We're gonna start doing events over on Facebook. We're gonna be having giveaways coming out here soon. We're going to get to know Chase more with videos where his coaches get to. We're going to bring 3 coaches on. That is happening now.
No, we're not.
We've done it. Time check?
No, we're not.
Talk hockey on the 11th at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Arizona time. So that would be, if for all of you that are looking at your clocks now, it's 4 hours earlier than now. I just care about the next one, producer. Stop yelling at me.
Okay. Well,
stop yelling at me. I don't know what I did.
This was the Splittin Twigs team.
Guys,
thank you for coming in.
Toodaloo. Bye-bye now.